Some places don't change. Some places refuse to let go of the past, of their rules, their fears. Eden Cove was one of those places. A village frozen in time, bound by laws older than anyone could remember. And for as long as I lived there, I was told one thing above all else. Never cross the boundary, never enter the forest, never question the elders. But I did, and I'm still paying the price. Eden Cove looked perfect on the surface. Every morning, the baker filled the air with the scent of warm bread. The blacksmith's forge crackled with heat and fire. The elders, wrapped in their crimson robes, watched over us like silent guardians. But beneath it all was fear. Fear of what lurked in the woods. Fear of what happened to those who disobeyed. I still remember the day I asked my mother about the forest. "Why do we never go past the trees?" I asked. "What's out there that's so dangerous?" Her face darkened. "Anna, haven't we spoken about this?" she said, her voice a mix of exhaustion and fear. "The veiled ones are beyond those trees. They watch, they wait. Do you want to end up like old man Gregory?" Gregory, the man who vanished after wandering too close to the boundary. No body, no signs of struggle, just gone. I hesitated before speaking again. "But what if they're not real? What if—" "Enough," she snapped. "You'll bring their wrath down upon this house with your words." That was the thing about Eden Cove. You didn't have to see the monsters to fear them. Every week, the village met in the square for the elders' decree. Their warnings never changed. "My children," one of them called out, voice deep, commanding. "Heed my words. The forest beyond our boundary is not safe. The veiled ones stalk the trees, hungry for those who dare to leave. Stay within the light of Eden Cove, and you will be safe." They say the veiled ones took Gregory because he wandered too close. I heard they can smell fear and wear your skin to blend in. I looked around and saw the same fear in everyone's eyes, the same blind obedience. But for me, doubt lingered. And then, one day, I stepped beyond the boundary. I had never been this far before. The trees stretched higher than I imagined, their branches twisting like grasping hands. The air was thick, heavy, as if the forest itself was watching. Then, I heard it. I stopped. Something was wrong. At first I thought it was just the gnarled bark of an old tree, but when my fingers touched it, cold, smooth, metal. I leaned closer. My heart pounded. And then, I saw it. A lens. A camera. This isn't natural. Subject 27. Detected. I stumbled back. Panic surged through me. I turned, ready to run. I wasn't alone. I ran. I made it back to Eden Cove before dark. I didn't tell anyone what I found. Because the truth, it was worse than anything the elders had warned us about. The veiled ones weren't monsters hiding in the woods. They were watching us, tracking us. And I was now part of something I didn't understand. I held my breath. Subject 27. Confirmed. Fear binds people together, but faith keeps them obedient. In Eden Cove, they were one and the same. The villagers didn't just believe in the watchers, they depended on them. The unseen guardians, the silent watchers of the forest, the keepers of order. To doubt them was to invite ruin. But then I saw the lens, I found the camera, and the seed of doubt was planted. And that's when everything started to fall apart. The church was the heart of Eden Cove, its walls towering over the village like a watchful giant. The carvings inside told stories older than time, stories of the watchers. Every week we gathered to hear the elders speak. Their sermons weren't just about faith. They were about control. The elder stood at the altar, his voice deep and commanding. "Children of Eden Cove, remember, the watchers see all. Their gaze protects us from the wickedness beyond the trees. But to stray from their light is to invite destruction. I looked around. Every face in the room was transfixed, lost in reverence. Every face except mine. I felt it, the weight of eyes on me. I turned and met the elder's gaze. His voice cut through the silence. "Anna, do you doubt the Watcher's protection?" I swallowed hard. No, Elder. I just..." His staff struck the floor again, loud and final. "Doubt is the seed of destruction. And destruction..." He leaned forward slightly, his tone dropping to something almost hungry. "Calls to the veiled ones." I didn't speak again, but for the first time in my life, I was afraid. Not of the forest, not of the veiled ones, of them. That afternoon, the village was buzzing, not with work, not with prayer, with fear. A figure had been spotted near the edge of the woods, a figure no one expected to see again. Then I saw him, Luke. He stumbled forward, his steps uneven. His face was wrong, pale, hollow, like something had drained him. And the scars, deep, jagged scars, ran across his arms and neck like something had tried to peel him open. "It's Luke! But how? He was taken months ago." "Look at his scars. He shouldn't be alive." Luke looked up, his voice shaking. They lied to us." His words cut through the crowd like a blade. "The veiled ones, the Watchers. It's not what you think. None of it's real." The head elder raised a hand. His voice was sharp, unwavering. "Enough. Luke has been touched by darkness. His words are poison, meant to lead you astray." Luke's breathing grew ragged. He looked past the crowd, straight at me. "Anna. Anna!" His voice turned desperate. "Meet me at the old well. If you want to know what's real, come tonight." Luke was gone, and the fear in my gut grew stronger. I couldn't sleep that night. Luke's words wouldn't leave my head. The old well, a place long abandoned, whispered to be cursed. Why there? Why now? I stared at the ceiling, my breath slow, measured. Then a whisper of doubt crept in. What if he's right? I sat up, my heartbeat pounding in my ears. If Luke had really seen something, if the elders were hiding the truth, I had to know. I slid out of bed, pulling on my boots. The cold night air wrapped around me as I stepped outside. I turned toward the woods, and I walked. The path to the well was overgrown, but I knew the way. The moon hung low, casting long shadows across the ground. With every step, my gut twisted tighter. Then I felt it, a presence, watching. I turned, quick, sharp. Nothing, just the trees. But I wasn't alone. I knew I wasn't alone. Faith or fear. In Eden Cove, they were one and the same. And as I took that final step toward the well, I realized something. I was never meant to make it back. Fear keeps people obedient. But faith blinds them. In Eden Cove, we were taught that the Watchers protected us, that they saw all, and that their word was law. But standing at the old well that night, I found something that shattered everything I thought I knew. A camera. Someone had been watching us, monitoring us, and I had no idea why. But I was about to find out. The temple stood at the heart of Eden Cove, its walls carved with symbols of the Watchers. No one entered without the elders' blessing. But I wasn't looking for their blessing. I hesitated. This is madness if they catch me here. But I stepped inside anyway. At first, it looked like any other temple. The altar, the prayer mats, the towering statues of the Watchers, their stone eyes boring into me. But then, I heard it. I turned toward the back of the room. The sound was coming from behind the altar. I moved closer, and beyond it was something I never should have seen. I stepped inside, my pulse pounding. It wasn't a prayer room. It wasn't a shrine. It was a surveillance center. I staggered back. My entire village was on the screens. The town square, the edge of the forest, the marketplace, my cottage. No, this can't be real. A soft beep draws my attention to one screen in particular. It zooms in onto a map labeled Subject 42, Anna Collins. A blinking red dot marks my exact location. I felt sick. They're tracking me, like an animal. My hands shake as I reach for a stack of documents on the desk. The words at the top read, Experiment Parameters. But before I can read more, Subject 42 is demonstrating signs of non-compliance. Increased surveillance recommended. I turned slowly. Who's there? I wasn't alone. She's breaking containment. We should have acted sooner. No, we need to let this play out. Observing her responses could provide critical data. And what if she exposes the experiment? If the others find out, that's why we have protocols. The Watchers, the Veiled Ones. They'll believe what they've always believed. A camera feed zooms in on me walking through the forest earlier that night. They're just scared animals in a cage. The voices disappear. I'm back in the control room. The speaker crackles one last time before falling silent. Why legs felt weak. My entire life, the Watchers, the rules, the fear, it was all a lie. I froze and then, no. The unmistakable presence of someone just beyond the door. I needed to hide. Now I scramble backward. My fingers fumble against a cabinet door. A soft creak as I slip inside. I pressed my back against the wood, barely breathing. The footsteps stop. Right outside the door. Silence. Then, the door begins to open. Secrets buried in stone. Truths hidden behind screens. For years they kept us in the dark. But I saw the wires behind the curtain. I saw the hands that pulled the strings. I wanted to know the truth. I wanted to be free. But in Eden Cove, curiosity has a price. And now, as I sit here in the dark, waiting for that door to open, I wonder if I was ever meant to leave. Fear keeps people obedient. But faith keeps them blind. For my entire life, I believed in the Watchers. Believed that they were protecting us from something worse. That as long as we obeyed the elders and stayed within the boundaries, we would be safe. But then Luke came back. And everything I thought I knew fell apart. Luke was waiting for me. He sat near the well, his back against the cold stone, barely visible in the dim light. He looked different, hollow, like something had been drained from him. I kept my voice low. Luke, how are you alive? Everyone thought you were dead. What happened to you out there? His voice was quiet. They want you to believe I'm dead, just like they want you to believe the Veiled Ones are monsters. I frowned. What are you talking about? Scars. Deep, jagged lines running along his forearms, some old, some fresh. Luke's voice was bitter. This is what happens when you try to leave. I shook my head. No, the Veiled Ones. They're dangerous. They've taken people. Luke cut me off. They're us, Anna. His words sent a chill through me. The Veiled Ones aren't creatures. They're villagers. People who tried to escape. When they're caught, they're punished and turned into warnings. He tapped one of the scars on his arm. The sound was wrong, hollow, metallic. Shock collars, he said. They use them to keep us in line. Some survive, most don't. I felt sick. Why are you telling me this? I whispered. Luke held my gaze. Because you're asking questions, and that makes you dangerous, just like I was. Somewhere in the village, someone was watching us. A man in plain villager's clothes sat before a wall of screens, flipping through live surveillance feeds. He adjusted a headset and spoke into a radio. Subject 27 is showing increased signs of non-compliance. She's been seen conversing with Subject 19, Luke Fisher. Both are classified as high risk. A voice responded through static. Maintain observation. Do not engage unless containment is breached. A new camera feed zooms in. Anna and Luke, near the well. He muttered under his breath. They always think they're different, that they can outsmart us. He shook his head. But they always end up in the same place. There's a way out, Anna. I stared at him. What do you mean? Beneath the temple, there's a tunnel. It leads to... I whispered. Someone's here. Luke's grip tightened on my arm. Meet me tomorrow night, by the temple. I'll show you the way. I opened my mouth to call him back. But then, cold air brushed against the back of my neck. I wasn't alone. Secrets are buried deep in Eden Cove. But some truths refuse to stay hidden. I thought the Watchers were our protectors, that the Veiled Ones were monsters lurking in the dark. But what if I had it backward? Luke knew the way out. But would I survive long enough to follow him? And the thing standing behind me in the dark, was it one of them? Or was it something worse? Faith keeps them united. But fear keeps them obedient. In Eden Cove, fear is the currency of control. The elders say it protects us, that the Watchers are always watching, that the Veiled Ones wait in the shadows, ready to punish the unfaithful. But what if none of it was real? What if fear wasn't protecting us, but trapping us? I used to believe in the Watchers, but now I know the truth, and knowing the truth might just get me killed. I sat in the church, surrounded by familiar faces, yet feeling more alone than ever. The elder stood at the altar, his voice echoing through the stone walls. Fear is the path to salvation. Only through unwavering faith can we survive the darkness beyond the trees. Fear, that's all they ever preached. I had swallowed their stories for years, that the Veiled Ones would come for us if we disobeyed, that the Watchers saw all, protecting us from the horrors beyond the boundary. But I had seen the cameras. I had heard the voices behind the curtain. I knew the truth. Stay quiet, Anna. Don't draw attention. The Watchers, they see everything. I didn't need the Watchers to see me. I was already being watched. Somewhere in a hidden room, a group of researchers monitored us like lab rats in a maze. A voice, calm, clinical, cut through the silence. Subject 27 is showing clear signs of non-compliance. She's dangerously close to breaching containment. Another voice, tense, uneasy. She's not the only one. Look at the behavioral data. Nearly 40% of the subjects are unstable. Some are on the verge of collapse. The first voice remained indifferent. Fear is an effective tool. It keeps them in line. Silence. Then a different voice, one filled with doubt. But at what cost? The doubtful researcher muttered under their breath. They didn't choose to be broken. Luke said the key was here, under the altar. I lift a loose wooden panel. My fingers brush against something cold, metallic. I exhaled. The key. I froze. A voice, low, rough, cut through the silence. Looking for something? My breath catches. A pause. Then, I run. I had the key. I just had to make it out alive. I was trapped. A small, windowless room. Cold stone walls. No way out. Let me out! You can't keep me here. A shiver ran down my spine. What is this place? A distorted voice crackles through a hidden speaker, robotic and emotionless. Subject 27, unbreaking containment is not permitted. I backed away from the door. The whispers grow louder, overlapping into a chaotic, deafening cacophony. I pressed my hands over my ears, my body trembling. The last thing I heard before everything went dark was my own name. Locked away in the shadows, I began to understand. Fear wasn't a warning. It wasn't protection. It was control. I thought knowing the truth would set me free. But now, trapped in the dark, I realized something else. In Eden Cove, those who ask questions don't just disappear. They become the next warning. Eden Cove was built on fear. Fear of the forest. Fear of the veiled ones. Fear of what lurked beyond the boundary. But fear only works when people believe in it. Luke stopped believing. And now others are starting to question too. The cracks are spreading. But the watchers, they're always watching. Luke's voice was steady but urgent. Listen to me. Everything they've told us is a lie. I sat among them, my fists clenched, my breath slow. The veiled ones, the forest, the rules, it's all a way to control us. A woman across from me, older, cautious, shook her head. But how can you be sure? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. What if leaving brings the plague? What if the veiled ones are real? Luke exhaled sharply. Do these look like they came from monsters? He demanded. These were the elders' punishments. This is what happens when you try to leave. A younger man hesitated, then spoke. I've seen them, he admitted. The elders. They meet with strangers. They bring strange supplies, machines, tools, but never food, never medicine. Luke nodded. They're watching us. Right now they know where we are, but we can fight back. If we work together, we can escape. Luke led a small group of us deeper into the woods. My pulse pounded. Every step felt wrong, like the trees themselves were watching. A nervous voice broke the silence. This doesn't feel right. What if they're already tracking us? Then, Luke lifted a hand. Quiet. We stopped. Someone whispered, "What is that?" I turned and saw it. A camera, disguised in the hollow of a tree. Luke's voice was grim. They've hidden them everywhere. That's how they know our every move. A villager near me took a step back. We have to go. They're watching us right now. Luke exhaled, calm. Number, we move fast. We know where the blind spots are now. If we stick to the plan, we stay ahead of them. I swallowed hard. If they were watching us here, what else had they seen? Somewhere behind the curtain of Eden Cove, someone was watching us. A voice, sharp, authoritative. Subjects 15, 19, and 27 have breached the surveillance grid. They've found the cameras. Another voice, tense. Luke is escalating their paranoia. If they find the tunnel... A third voice, cold, calculated. We can't let that happen. Increase security. Deploy the elders. Spread the plague warning. A pause. Then, over the village, the loudspeakers crackled to life. My children, a terrible sickness is spreading beyond the forest. Those who leave will bring death upon us all. Trust in the watchers. Obey the rules. Stay safe. In the control room, someone whispered, barely audible. How long can we keep this up before someone gets hurt? A cold response. We're not here to keep them safe. We're here to study them. Luke told me the tunnel was here, beneath the temple. I moved quickly, my fingers trailing along the stone. Then, I squinted, tracing the lines. Temple sub-level 3, secret exit. There it was, the way out. No, not now. A shadow stretches across the stone wall. My fingers curl into fists. You won't stop me, not this time. Fear binds Eden Cove. But rebellion is growing in the dark. Luke is rallying them. The villagers are starting to wake up. And now, with the key to the temple's secret exit in my hands, we might actually have a chance. But the Watchers won't let us go without a fight. They control everything. The walls, the cameras, the stories. And now, I know just how far they'll go to keep their experiment alive. Fear controls people. It makes them obedient. It makes them desperate, and sometimes it makes them betray the ones they love. We thought we were close. We thought we had a chance. But in Eden Cove, trust is a fragile thing, and when it breaks, it shatters. Luke leaned forward, his voice barely above a whisper. We're running out of time. The tunnel's our only chance, but the guards are tightening their patrols. I nodded, gripping the stolen blueprints tighter. If we stick to the forest's blind spots, we can make it by dawn. A woman near me, young, nervous, spoke up. But what if they catch us? What if the elders are right? What if the plague is real? Luke's jaw tightened. The plague is a lie. Everything they've told us is a lie. They want us to fear what's outside, so we stay here, controlled. My breath caught in my throat. Did you hear that? Luke's eyes flicked toward the trees. It's nothing, he murmured. We're safe here. But in the silence, I could hear it. Someone was watching us. In a hidden room, far from the firelight of the forest, researchers watched us through flickering screens. A voice, casual, detached. Subject 19's loyalty is wavering. They're torn between fear and desperation. This is the perfect moment to test controlled disruption. Another voice, uncertain. You're talking about betrayal. You want to manipulate them into turning on each other? A third voice, calm, cold. It's not manipulation, it's observation. Let them make their choices. We'll intervene only if necessary. The first researcher smirked. Fear does the work for us. A panicked voice. They're here, they found us. Luke's eyes locked onto mine. Get the blueprints. We need to move now. I lunged for the blueprints, but we were too late. Don't move! Hands where we can see them! Then, a villager stepped forward, trembling, hands raised. My stomach dropped. I'm sorry. His voice cracked. They said they'd spare my family. I stared at him. You betrayed us. Luke's voice was quieter. They planned this. They wanted this to happen. They dragged us into the village square. All around us, familiar faces, friends, neighbors, stared in silent fear. The elder's voice rang out. My children, behold the heretic who dared to defy the sacred laws of Eden Cove. A woman near the front of the crowd clutched her child. The little boy's eyes were wide, scared. Anna has been poisoned by lies and false promises, the elder continued. Let her punishment serve as a reminder. Faith keeps us safe. Fear keeps us alive. I forced myself to speak. They're lying to you. The plague isn't real. The Watchers are controlling everything. I tasted blood. The elder stepped forward. May the Watchers have mercy on your soul. Fear makes traitors of us all. I thought we could trust each other. I thought we could break free. But the Watchers knew. They always knew. Someone turned on us. Someone gave us up. And now? Now, I'm just another example. Another warning. Exile. The final punishment. The sentence no one returns from. They told us the veiled ones waited beyond the trees, that anyone cast into the forest would never be seen again. But fear is a weapon, and sometimes the things we fear the most don't even exist. That night they banished me. But what they didn't know? They weren't sending me to my death. They were sending me to the truth. I stood before them, the elders, the villagers, faces I had known my entire life, now filled with fear and judgment. The elder raised his arms. Anna of Eden Cove, you have defied the sacred Watchers, spread heresy, and disrupted our harmony. For this, you are sentenced to exile beyond the forest's edge, where the veiled ones await. I swallowed hard. You're afraid of what I know, I said, my voice steady. That's why you're sending me away. But I promise you this. Fear won't keep you safe forever. The guards didn't hesitate. The last thing I heard before the village vanished behind me was silence. I had no plan, no direction, until I saw it. I crouched, running my hands over the damp earth. Then, a tunnel, leading underground. Luke was right. My breath quickens, a metallic thunk as I drop down into the passageway. At the end of the tunnel, a door. I pushed it open, and what I saw on the other side changed everything. It wasn't a cave. It wasn't ruins. It was a facility. Rows of screens lined the walls, each one displaying live feeds of Eden Cove, the village square, the temple, the elders' chambers. I staggered forward, my breath shallow. What is this? Scientists in lab coats moving between desks, murmuring to each other. They don't notice me. A voice, calm, clinical, drifted from a nearby console. Subject containment is stable. Fear response is at 87%. The elders are maintaining control. Another researcher responded, sharper. We'll need another disruption soon. Subject 27, Anna, is escalating too quickly. She could destabilize the experiment. My breath hitches. My pulse pounds. I take a step back, bumping into a desk. Thunk. They knew my name. They had been watching me. I ran. I burst outside and stopped cold. Not ruins, not wasteland, a city. Towering skyscrapers, blinking neon signs. People, real people, walking down sidewalks, unaware that just beyond the trees, a village was being lied to. A man passed by, glancing at me. "You okay, lady?" I couldn't answer. I just stared. Everything they told us. The Watchers, the Veiled Ones, the Plague, lies. I turned back toward the hidden tunnel. The elder's voice, low, cautious. "Who goes there?" A cloaked figure stood at the edge of the firelight. Me. I kept my voice steady, low. "A traveler seeking refuge." The elder hesitated, then stepped aside. I came back different, not as an exile, not as a heretic. I came back as the beginning of something new, because now I knew the truth, and I was going to tear down their lies. One by one. In a village built on lies, some chose to believe, some chose to fear, but a few dared to seek the truth. What about you? Do you believe what they told you, or what you felt in the dark? The story of Eden Cove isn't over, because sometimes the scariest truth is the one we were never allowed to know. If you're still listening, it means you're starting to question things too. Tap subscribe, because the next chapter is coming, and they don't want you to hear it. Hit like if you felt it, the fear, the doubt, the truth slipping through the cracks. Share this with someone who needs to wake up, and tell us in the comments, do you believe in the Watchers or not?